Yo, what's up, guys? It's Golemmcr here, coming at you with another video. In today's video, we're going to go over the work in progress balance changes for January 2025. So, hopefully, it's easy to see. I tried to set it up where you can just see everything all on the screen without scrolling. So, we'll start with the Archer Queen. It's getting an ability cooldown from 15 seconds to 17 seconds. So, it's going to take 13% longer. So, this is a pretty big nerf, and I think it's pretty significant because I think a lot of times you were able to get the Archer Queen ability on defense and then also offense, unless your opponent played another card right at the bridge right away to take it out. So even if you didn't get the second ability, just the threat of the second ability took more elixir, and unless you had a lightning or a rocket, it's just really hard to deal with. So I think it's a good card for the game because I feel like this card and Cannon Cart are just kind of bad for the game because you just wait for your opponent to play and you just play it in the lane and get instant value in the back. And I just think a little nerf was deserved. Um, we got the Ram Rider. Its HP is going from 1767 to 1696, so it's getting a 4% hit point nerf. I think this is definitely good. I think there needs to be more balance amongst the Ram Hog Piggies decks. I definitely think the Ram decks feel the strongest with the Ram P.E.K.K.A. So hopefully this will be more variants. Cause I feel like you definitely don't want super high use rates out of either of those three cards. I would hope Supercell wants a balance Piggies, Ram, Hog meta. I feel like something's off when one of those riders starts going up super much, and Ram Rage has been super annoying to deal with for a while. So I'm okay with another nerf to that deck. And along with that, we got the P.E.K.K.A. Well, actually, guys. Oh wait, I'm probably supposed to go left or right. Okay, we're gonna jump then after the P.E.K.K.A. Whoops. But the P.E.K.K.A.'s heal per kill, it's getting reworked. It's going from, instead of just healing a base amount per unit, it'll heal more for the units with more health, and it'll heal less for units with less health. So if it kills a golem, it'll get a bunch of HP, but if it kills a skeleton, it won't get much HP at all. So I think this is overall a nerf, except in golem matchups, I guess. But kind of an overall nerf, I feel like, because it definitely got more value off the smaller units. All right, let's just actually go in order now. We'll just do the first two rows to make up. Sorry. And we got the Cannon Cart. It's getting a shield HP nerf. It's going from 892 to 824, an 8% nerf, and I guess it's getting a visual bug fix. I think this is good too, because I think the Cannon Cart is really similar to the Archer Queen. It's an overpowered 5 elixir range card that it doesn't have an ability, but its base stats are just nutty. And it just needed a nerf because it's just way too easy to get value with it, and it's not healthy for the game. The Bomber, the Evo Bomber, is the one attack, can't damage. Wait, sorry. We need to go in order. Jesus, sorry. I keep going down the row, and I need to realize to read left to right. All right, we got the Fisherman. Its slowdown's going from 2.5 to 1.5. I kind of agree with this, but the one thing I don't like about this is I don't see an Ice Wizard nerf, and I already almost thought the Ice Wizard was more broken for 3 elixir, especially in double, getting multiple Ice Wiz since the splash buff. But I mean, Fisherman's also broken, so I guess it gets yeah, the slowdown when it hits something's 40%. I don't think it'll change that much, but I definitely think Ice Wiz will be a noticeable better choice now. And I'm kind of disappointed that they had the Fisherman nerf and not an Ice Wizard nerf. So we have the Doctor HP going 19% down. I honestly still wish they would have nerfed the Goblinstein monster HP more. I still think you just get too much health from that card, and especially with the ability, maybe an ability nerf too. So I'm kind of disappointed in the just being the Doctor HP nerf when I think they could have nerfed the monster too again, the HP at least. It just gets ridiculous stats. If and the abilities are ridiculous, make the stats worse or make the ability worse. Because I still feel even with this nerf to the HP, I don't know, the Goblinstein still feels super tanky. So we already did the Rams. So we have the Bomber, and the Bomber one attack can't damage an enemy twice. So we already saw this get implemented. So the Bomber's a lot worse now. Um, I'm honestly, I honestly don't expect the Bomber to be used as much, really. because I feel like it used to always get that double splash at the bridge and it would get like 2 or 3 thousand damage, and now since it can't damage an enemy twice, it just doesn't get that double bounce anymore. And I think that's what made it broken for a 2 cycle. Now I feel like bats and stuff feel like a lot more lucrative now, just because it's like a huge basically nerf to the card. And then we have the barrel mechanic, which it'll make the decoy barrel look different for about 1 second to deploy. To me, that's not gonna matter because in most of my matchups, I'm already just ignoring the barrel anyway, and I'm not too concerned like which one's the real one. I'm just trying to like not really defend an attack. So, but I guess this will really change the bait matchups and make it super easier to defend. But it's not like it's gonna change like the DPS or anything of the barrels. Like for like beatdown players that ignore it, like it's gonna be the same. But yeah, expect this card to be a lot worse than like the bait mirrors, I guess, for sure. And like it just probably fall off in a lot of decks because like I'm sure it was mostly used to like also beat the mirror. And like there's just stronger evos. I'm really happy with the Evo Ice Blast. It's going from 3 to 2. This is like a super broken 1 cycle Evo. It was like super hard to push through. So now it'll definitely be easier to push through with like a lot of these Golem decks because that's like a super broken busted cycle Evo that was just raining defensive power for the longest. And I guess they're also going to make the Ice Blast damage 48% more, which is, I guess, to compensate, but I still think this is overall like a big nerf. Um, so we already did the P.E.K.K.A. So we got the Royal Recruits. So the hit points are going from 133 to 138, so they're getting a 4% increase. I think this is good for the card. They still feel pretty squishy for a 7 elixir card, and I feel like it's just so easy to NATO splash them down. So like I'm good with like buffing the recruits again. And I guess they're reworking the Evo recruits. They're gonna also buff the hit points, but they're gonna make the charge distance like 1.5 to 2. So that's like honestly like a nerf I feel like to the Evo. But I guess they're trying to balance it out. So I once again feel like it's gonna be hard for recruits to be like that good because like every time they buff them, it's like always at the expense of something. Like they never just buff them. Which I don't know. I wish they would have left the charge. I don't think the charge distance was that OP at 2, but maybe in some matchups it was. I feel like if you know how to play through them, you just kind of ignore and like you just take a side and overwhelm them because it's like a 7 elixir card. But okay. And I guess their charge damage got a 1% buff. We got the skeletons. They're going from 4 to 3. The unit count's going down by 1. So this is honestly just a huge nerf, and I definitely expect the card to be used a lot less. It looks like cycle players are hurting this update. Like their Archer Queen got nerfed, the Ice Spirit Evo got nerfed, and the Skelly Evo got nerfed. It's like all the broken like cheap cards that just defend everything are all getting like nerfed. And the P.E.K.K.A's getting nerfed, so like people can't even just switch over and like spam P.E.K.K.As because the rework is probably like we'll have to see. I still think it is probably the most popular card. But yeah, that's I feel like the Evo Skellies might be dead after this. I don't know what to see. Definitely a lot worse. So we have the Baby Dragon get a splash radius increase to 1.5. This is a good buff. We'll have to see where it settles. I still don't think it's going to be that broken for 4 elixir, but we'll see. I mean, definitely might be used more, especially if Graveyard is more possible or more like used. We have the Witch. Holy cow, guys! Sorry, I feel like I didn't even get water. Like, there's so many updates. I didn't realize there was gonna be so many updates. Like, I'm trying to like think about them and talk, and there's just so much. But the Witch's splash radius is going up 50% from 1 to 1.5 tiles. I honestly think this might be what the Witch needs. I honestly was thinking about running it in Golem for the longest, but obviously the Night Witch is just like a better card. But maybe now, like with this splash buff, like it's like another spawner you can run behind Golem. There might be like more cheesy like tank decks you can run with this because it kind of might just be similar to Ice was now, just like a lot better defensively. And then we have the Dark Prince's charge difference going distance going from 3.5 to 3. I think this is a small buff, but I don't think it's anything too crazy. I definitely think like the Witch buff is like better than the Dark Prince buff, and I think that like it still like not feel as good as a Prince. That's how I think personally, but we'll have to see how it goes. I mean, it's only a half tile distance. And then the E-Giant's going to change its Cyclip, which we'll have to see because I don't play E-Giant much, but I know they normally use like E-Giant like Lightning NATO. So I guess it'll be a lot easier to like trade everything out with NATO and Lightning and probably take their tower for like even elixir trades where it's like you spend the same elixir but do way more damage. Because I know like was like unfair so much, just like making it pull and walk so slow. So this is like a huge buff for the card, but its stats still aren't getting buffed. So like I guess we'll have to see. I still think it's like on the weaker side of tanks, like compared to like P.E.K.K.A.s and Golems. Um, so we're on to the Demolisher. Its lifetime's going from 7 to 8. This is once again a big buff. It'll get a lot more shots at the tower after life. So that's where all its damage is. So maybe some of those Demolisher poison decks will come back. But I still think like as long as there's no Evo E-Drag nerf, which there isn't, like P.E.K.K.A. E-Drag nerfs will like still remain like the strongest feeling decks on like the arena. And we have a Goblin Machine buff or like rework. Its damage is going from 135 to 212, and its hit points are going up 57%, and its hit speed's going from 1.11 to 0.83, and its hits per second is going down 25%, and its hit times going from 0.9 to 1.2. So overall, I guess it's a DPS buff of 17%, and I do believe this to be an overall buff, but I just don't think it's going to be compelling enough still to be used that much. But yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. We have a Mighty Miner buff. It's going to do its damage increase time faster. I don't like this because Mighty Miner is pretty good against my deck, and I feel like it already was kind of okay. So I think it'll definitely be a lot more favorable champion after this. And we'll have to see where it plays out, but I could see it being like almost a number 1 or number 2 champion, especially with the Archer Queen nerf. And it's just raw HP and its usability in cycle decks and being a tank killer without playing like Inferno Tower. Like it's kind of like an Inferno Tower in itself. That's a champion in a 3-card cycle. So yeah, that's a good buff. But I still like I'm going to try to stun it with my E-Drag and just keep pushing. We'll have to see how it goes. The mini P.E.K.K.A. is getting a base damage buff. I really like this buff. I wish we could have gotten a base P.E.K.K.A. nerf, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. But yeah, like it made no sense to like ever run the mini P.E.K.K.A. with the P.E.K.K.A. in the game. Like you're just like getting like no value. I feel like for 4 elixir with like compared to like an Evo P.E.K.K.A. So that's definitely good for the game, and maybe it'll be usable now. But it was probably still gonna just be used in like cheesy decks. The cannon's getting a 10% barrage increase to everything. I think people are kind of underestimating how good of a buff this is because there's like all those barrages. So I honestly think Cannon's going to be a lot more playable, and especially with no base Cannon nerf and the Cannon being such a good card, like I think it's going to be more alluring just to like run the Evo if you're already playing Cannon versus before people are running Evo Skellies and Evo Ice Spirit, but those Evos both got a pretty big nerf now. So you also have to take that into consideration too. And we have the Evo Wall Breakers. They're getting a death damage buff from 195 to 292. This is like a huge buff. And they'll be way better defensively now, and they're still only 2 elixir, mind you. So I don't know why, but I just really feel like I could see Cannon Wall Breakers being like the flavor of the cycle deck Evos this meta, because you can do so much barrage damage and death damage with the Wall Breaker Evos for 3 and 2 elixir. It feels like maybe that's what they need to push through the big decks this meta, because it looks like they won't be able to defend with the Ice Spirit and Skellies. So I think this is going to be an overall buff to beatdown decks, because I still feel like that new like switch like cycle that players will have to make or use the nerf cards like will just make like beatdown decks push through more. So now we have the Dagger Duchess. It's getting a buff. Its dagger stores are going up from 8 to 9, and it's going to shoot faster, so it'll exhaust its daggers faster, but also have faster DPS. So this is definitely definitely a huge overall buff. I think it's going to be very tempting to run Dagger Duchess and Golem now, just because of being able to ignore so much stuff in single and just like being able to like pump more and play golems, because like in double, because obviously in double you own double elixir, and it just seems like Dagger Duchess was already statistically the best single elixir card, and now it's like feels even way better. So yeah, that might even be more important than just leveling up a golem a couple of times with the chef. If I can just like have Dagger Duchess just get crazy trades and just get a couple like an extra pump down. We'll have to see how that goes. And I guess the rage duration's getting a rework with the Lumberjack. It's going from 6 to 5.5. I think this is to be consistent with the rage. I'm not positive though, but I think that's what it is. And if that's what it is, I'm okay with it. But if this is to make it inconsistent with the rage and just nerf it, like 8%. Like I don't really get that. I hope it's just like consistent with the rage now, like the rage spell, because that's how it should be. I feel like whatever the rage spell should be, the lumberjack should also have the same duration. And then its hit point, it's gonna do 255 instead of 242. I wish they would have. I mean, I guess this is a good buff, but I don't know if it's enough. Honestly, I feel like it's still like gonna feel like a squishy card, and it's gonna be hard to think of using it besides like Healer or Night Witch. But yeah, these are the balance changes. I guess my input is like maybe we needed like as someone who's like been abusing Evo E Drag and NATO, like I feel like one of those cards has to go. Like either, and I don't think NATO's ever gonna get nerfed. So maybe Evo E Drag needs a slight nerf. Maybe they could do something. I hope if they did nerf Evo E Drag, we could also get a slight like regular dragon buff where they just buff the Electro Dragon and nerf the Evo Drag. Maybe like just buff its HP because it feels so squishy for a 5 elixir card. So you could buff its HP and then like nerf maybe like the chain or something. I don't know, but that's like a fair trade off. And yeah, so here's the balance changes. They're gonna go in effect in the next season. And guys, make sure to like and subscribe. We're gonna try to put out quality content daily. We're really gonna try to push and ladder with Golem, but we're definitely excited for this balance changes, guys. Like and subscribe. Golemmcr out. Peace.